Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. Today we're back into Anniversary Box 2020 reveals, and today we actually have some good cards to talk about, or at least in my opinion, good cards that I've been testing with. I think they're really strong, but anyways, we'll get into that in the video. If you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video, and if you guys want to help support the channel, there are tons of ways to do so down in the description, as always. But today, guys, it would really help out if you use my link to TCG Player if you want to buy any trading cards that you see here, or any trading cards for that matter. Anyways, let's jump right on into this, talking about U7. So where did everybody's fan favorite deck go? U7 was by far the most popular deck going back to 2 formats ago, and even for a good bit of Ultimate Squad, but now it's just kind of been phased out by SS4 Gogeta and Sin Shenron. But these two cards are both pretty solid, so let's give them a read and how they support U7. So Android 18 with Reckless Abandon. We have a 3-drop 15k, counter attack, limit 1, negate the attack, play this card, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards and it gets minus 15k for the turn. Super solid. I mean, it's just like kind of similar to the Goku counterplay. It doesn't draw a card, but doing this at counter attack speed is really good. Permanent Sparking 7. If your leader is a mono red Universe 7 Sun Goku card, reduce energy cost this card in your hand and drop by 2. Permanent, this card will be removed from a battle area or remove it from the game instead. And then permanent, this thing has so many permanents. You can activate this card's counter skill from your drop by paying its energy cost and discarding 1 card from your hand. That's a really cool thing. Like, you can mill this and still negate with it. That is really good. So the fact that it has that versatility and gives something minus 15k, excellent card in my opinion. Ultra Instinct Son Goku, Unthinking Onslaught, 3-drop 20k with a 3Z energy cost. Now, I don't think we've seen a lot of U7 in Zenkai format, at least as far as tournaments go, but I have mentioned in the past that U7 is actually pretty good at comboing and setting up Z energy, because you've got the Gohan Skillless engine, where if you have the 1-drop Gohan in play, you combo a Skillless, you draw a card, so you're incentivized to combo there. And a lot of U7 builds play the Black Spring Kai of Time, that if you have 5 or less cards in hand, it combos for 10k, so that also sets up Z energy. So 3 is actually not that bad in my opinion, at least. Anyways, let's read what this does. Deflect, Barrier, Dual Attack, Auto Limit 1. If this card is in rest mode and you discard 1 card from your hand, when you use one of your red Skillless battle cards in the combo, choose one of your cards and it gets plus 5k for the turn. So you get to give anything a Senzu Bean, which is really cool. Obviously your leader, or even this card if your opponent's trying to clear it by battle, because it does have the barrier. Auto at the end of the turn, switches to active mode, and then activate battle, limit 1. If your leader is a Warrior of U7 card, you switch this card to rest mode and you add 1 red Skillless battle card from your drop to your hand. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards unisons and it gets minus 15k for the turn. So admittedly, with the activate battle, you're going to want to use this in U7 Gohan, which actually has a really interesting pool of Z battle cards, because if you didn't know, SSB Goku, the Evolved Defender, and Frieza, the green Frieza Z battle card, those are both U7s. So like, because of Warrior of U7, at least for right now, it applies to the Z deck. There were just some rule changes that you know, leader restrictions or leader effects might not apply to the Z deck. We have to get a more specific ruling about how that's going to work for U7 Gohan, and if you can still play Evolved Defender after some of the rule changes. But still, I mean, that second effect definitely goes really nicely in U7 Goku. There's nothing to worry about with this card because it is red, so that's fine. It's a little weird that like they kind of split the support here. You know, one is really for U7 Goku, and Unthinking Onslaught seems to be more for Gohan, but I think you could probably still play Unthinking Onslaught in U7 Goku. But regardless, 2 really good cards for some fan favorite decks. Then we have Whis from On High. Like, the fact this card is being printed is kind of insane to me. I mean, I did a Beerus profile, I think it was earlier this week or last week, but this card is just insane. 1 Z energy cost, 2 regular energy cost. Auto, if your leader is a mono blue Beerus card and all of your energy is mono blue, when this card is played, add up to 1 mono blue card from your drop to your energy in rest mode. So that is always going to be met by the Z energy you pay for this, because that Z energy will go to the drop and then the auto will trigger, and then you can just use whatever you paid as Z energy to ramp, basically. Activate main, remove this card from the game, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 4 or less and place on top of the owner's deck. Solid removal, and I mean, dude, this is literally better objection. Yes, it's tied to Beerus, but I've already made claims saying Beerus is probably better than SS4 Vegeta ramp. Unfortunately, both decks are not incredible in this format, because with how aggressive it is, you can get rushed down pretty quickly. I've had some success against like SS4 Gogeta going first and stuff like that, but if the format does slow down, I think Beerus is going to be an actual menace with this card in the Z deck. It's just so insane. But yeah, definitely going to take a certain format for it, but a really good card nonetheless. Hit, ready to brawl. We have a 2-drop 15k unison, auto once per turn when this card is attacked by a card with 10k power or more. Switch target of the attack to your leader. And that's pretty relevant because for the reboot hit leader, he doesn't have any inherent ways to take life quickly, if I remember correctly. So redirecting those attacks to your leader, whether you're self-awakening or not, is just nice for keeping your unison alive. Activate main +1, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand, place it to 1 skill list with energy cost of 2 from your deck in your drop, then shuffle your deck. So the leader's ability to replay skill list from the drop, this basically facilitates that. Activate main for 2 red, ±0. If your leader is a red hit card and your opponent has 3 or more energy, play 1 mono red hit with energy cost of 4 from your hand. So foreseeing hit getting played from your hand for 2. Looking at your opponent's hand, taking 2 cards temporarily, but getting that hand knowledge is just solid. So is this going to make hit meta? Probably not, but it is still really cool to see that older leader and that older card get some solid support, because this is a solid card by all means. I kind of wish that the unison for the leader wasn't the same character. That would have been kind of nice, but still a really good card nonetheless. Pilaf Mechanized Partnership, 2-drop 15k, auto limit 1 for 2 energy. If your leader is a red Pilaf card and there are 1 or more Pilaf, Shoe, and My cards in your drop, when this card is using the combo from your hand, play up to 1 Pilaf Machine, the Master Bot from your deck, then shuffle your deck. So honestly, I didn't go back and read any of the Pilaf stuff. I've never been super interested in that archetype. It's just been more of like a rogue, kind of like aggro-ish thing more than anything. But for you Pilaf players, I hope this card reads well. If you're a Pilaf player, drop it in the comments whether or not this card's actually good or not. Then we have Sun Gohan, Come What May, 2-drop 10k deflect blocker. Permanent, your yellow Trunks future cards with energy costs of 1 gain barrier. Auto limit 1, when this card is played, you may place 1 card from your hand at the bottom of your deck. If you do, play up to 1 yellow Trunks future with energy cost of 1 from your deck or drop, then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So before we read the next effect, clearly this is support for the future Gohan leader deck that, you know, kind of revolves around a lot of future Trunks main deck stuff. But this lets you just play a 1-drop Trunks from your deck. So this is actually a solid Z card in Trunks Vegeta. Because let's say you miss your 1-drop, which if you guys play that deck, you know that is really bad for your game plan. This, at the very least, for 2 energy out of the Z deck, gets you the 1-drop that you need. So it essentially just guarantees your Awaken on turn 2 if you don't open a 1-drop. It does tap you out, which is not ideal because then you can't evolve that turn. But at least you do have a way to pull your 1-drop Trunks out of the deck. That's really solid. Then auto, choose 1 Trunks future in your battle area. When this card attacks or activates blocker, use 1 card from under the chosen card in a combo, then switch the chosen card to active mode and it can attack for the turn. Really cool thing here that it generates more Z energy. I mean, this just seems like a solid card for future Gohan. Again, this will probably see meta play in Trunks Vegeta decks. Future Gohan, I think, is a really interesting deck to look at, but now that Fated Rivals is a card, it just invalidates your big 8-drop bomb that you're investing a fair amount of energy into. Not that green is like, you know, a super popular force in the meta or anything, but the point is, like, there's more barrier removal now than ever, so that investing a lot into that card doesn't feel really great. Alright, then we have Fusamasu, Righteous Iniquity. We have a Z Awaken for a yellow if your life's at 4 or less, or you send one Zamasu and 1 Goku Black from your Z energy to the warp. Yellow, Goku Black, and then when this card attacks, draw 1. So firstly, notice it has a 1 Z energy cost, but it seems like you have to send 1 Zamasu and 1 Goku Black from your Z energy to warp, so in reality, it's going to have a 3 Z energy cost, practically. Activate battle once per turn, place 2 non-super combo Zamasu and or Goku Black cards from your drop at the bottom of your deck in any order. This card gains plus 5k and double strike for the battle. Then choose one of your Zamasu cards and switch to active mode at the end of the turn. This is pretty interesting from what I'm remembering of the Goku Black Wish Leader, because I guess you could theoretically like go for the triple attack, swing with it 3 times, then on the final attack you could Z Awaken during combat and use this activate battle to go for the finishing double strike. That's kind of like a play where everything has to go right for you. It might not always line up that way, but it is an interesting thing. I kind of wish it was a 20k leader because I feel like that deck lacks a little bit in the defensive department, at least as far as like pure battle goes. You have plenty of battle tricks, don't get me wrong, but like with how susceptible your indestructible blockers are, unfortunately, thanks to Red's popularity in the format, I think this being a 20k leader would have been okay, but still seems like a solid Z leader for a very fun deck in my opinion. Then we have Frieza, just a warm-up, 1 drop with a 1 Z energy cost. This is for the life-flipping Frieza archetype. I haven't messed with this one in a long time. If your leader's backside is Frieza Resurrected, when this card is played, you may add 1 mono yellow Frieza or 1 mono yellow Unison from your hand to your life face up, and if you added a card to your life draw 1 card and place 1 card from your life in the drop. So this is basically an on-demand way to proc all your life effects, if I'm recalling correctly, because the way that deck works is you have various effects in your own deck that basically crit your own life, and when you do that, you get to play the cards that were crit out of your life. So this is, again, just like an on-demand way to do that, and for a 1-drop 15k, that's a solid stat. Activate main limit 1. If your leader's backside is Frieza Resurrected, and you place 1 card from your hand at the bottom of your deck. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck and add up to 1 yellow Frieza's army with energy cost of 4 or less, or 1 yellow Unison with a specified cost of 2 among them to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So it's pretty cool how as long as you're able to keep this thing alive, you can keep searching, and that might actually get like 2 or 3 search effects in the first 2 or 3 turns, depending on who goes first and what your opponent's playing and whatnot. You should have some sort of target in your hand for this guy's auto, because it's an on-play auto as opposed to an activate main searching effect. But it just sucks that like you can't use this to like get your Unison and then use the auto. You'd have to play like a subsequent copy of the card in order to kind of do that. But this still seems like a solid card for that strategy, and I do remember actually a couple high-profile players enjoying that as a control deck several formats ago. You know, maybe it's something to be revisited again if the format slows down a bit, because I do think red is a little bit too strong for a deck like this to really succeed. But if we do see a more of like a slower format, maybe stuff like this, maybe stuff like Beerus, and maybe even like a more mid-rangey control version of U7 with the new Android 18 card could be pretty solid. But I do think that this batch of cards that I've read today is a lot more solid than the previous batch, but I want to know in the comments below what you think. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.